We'll take you beyond the bullpen to see what it really takes to be a starting pitcher for the Canes.
Plus, getting draft ready. Some of the best of Miami football showed their strengths to the scouts during Pro Day.
And finally, setting swim standards. Manny Nacarado sat down with one YMCA chapter that's raising the bar for pool safety.
All that and more,
Sports Desk starts right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching Sports Desk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching Sports Desk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching Sports Desk.
hello and welcome back to another episode of Sports Desk. I'm Penelope Gilbert.
And I'm Jordan Cirillo. Thank you for joining us. Penelope, a rough start to the Canes baseball season. Let's hope they can turn it around this weekend.
Yeah, Jordan, things were looking up when they finally tied up that series against FSU last weekend, but they fell again this Wednesday. In the middle of a rough stretch, Canes baseball faced off against another in-state opponent with the Stetson Hatters coming down to Miami. Looking for a strong midweek win, the Canes could only say hats off to the visiting team. Let's take it to Marklight Field for the highlights. A midweek matchup here at Marklight, starting with pitcher Reese Lumpkin. Stetson batter whiffs and strikes out. That'll be one of 5 strikeouts in a rough night for Lumpkin. But Derek Williams, he will slam one deep to left field, and that will go over the scoreboard, getting the Wichita State transfer his 5th homer of the season and finally putting Miami on the board in the 5th inning. Freshman Lazaro Calera in for the 7th inning, punches out a batter. That is his 14th strikeout this season. Then it's Bobby Marsh with a solid hit to right field. That will get Max Galvin home from third base, getting an RBI in for Marsh and tacking on a 2nd run for the Canes that night. Then it's Will Smith. He's put in for the 8th inning, the Coastal Carolina transfer's 2nd strikeout for the night. We then have Jake Ogden at bat. He's been a solid hitter for Miami, and then he hits it to center right field, just barely safe at first base. Nick Robert closing out in the 9th inning, fanning that batter. Miami falls to the Stetson Hatters 11-2.
With the Canes heading to North Carolina to take on the number 21 ranked Tar Heels, Miami is again faced with top-tier ACC competition. Earlier today, our Inside Pitch crew went to Marklight Field to break down how the Canes can make some noise in Chapel Hill. Guys.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to Inside Pitch. I'm your host, Ashley Friedland, joined by analyst Jake Baum, and let's get right into it. The Miami Hurricanes are headed up to UNC this weekend for a 3-game series, but they have seen some pitching errors. Jake, what do the pitchers and on the defensive side need to do to make sure they can come out strong?
Well, after the 11-2 loss to Stetson in the midweek, it's evident that the Canes are killing the Canes. And it's really frustrating because the bullpen and the pitching were supposed to be one of the most improved parts of this roster, according to the coaches, J.D. Arteaga, on top of that. And on Wednesday, Reese Lumpkin, that midweek guy for the Canes, only 3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, super disappointing performance. One of the bright spots on the pitching side has been Griffin Ugis, a 3.9 ERA compared to a team 5.64 ERA. Nothing to behold on that, but it's not just the pitching. The defense, too. 5 errors in this last game on Wednesday, and the team has more errors than they have games played. So you can't keep hurting yourself if you want to come out of these games on top.
Absolutely, but there are 2 shout-outs that is transferred Derek Williams and Bobby Marsh, and they've been having a great time up at bat. So what can we expect them to do at this UNC series?
Yeah, well, Derek Williams proving that he's a Miami guy. The Wichita State transfer hitting .305 so far this year. Miami area code, for those who don't know, on top of a .962 OPS, 8 doubles, and 5 home runs. And Bobby Marsh is leading that offense as well. He also has those 8 doubles, but a 6 home runs, leading the team in home runs. And on top of that, he's hitting at a .284 clip with a .930 OPS. So 2 guys looking for a little bit of that silver lining on the offensive side.
That is very true, but now it's time for Baum's Bets. What do the Canes need to do to make sure they can bring home a win this series?
It's another tough one. The ACC is one of the toughest divisions in all of college baseball, and it doesn't get any easier as the Canes take on number 21 North Carolina. But the first step is to contain the All-American Hunter Stokely, the first baseman, hitting at a .365 clip so far this season and 9 home runs. One of the premier power bats in all of college baseball. You got to stop him from producing against the Canes. You also got to play clean. We talked about the easy errors. You can't keep hurting yourself. You play clean baseball, good results will follow. But also, you got to score early. Okay, the bullpen, as we've talked about, has some problems late in the games, so they're going to allow some runs. You got to build that lead to a big enough clip where it's not going to be a problem later in the game. Unfortunately, another series against a ranked opponent where taking just one might be a massive win for the Hurricanes.
That is extremely exciting stuff that we have coming up, but that is all the time we have for you today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. A little bit of a switch up in the rotation for Canes baseball this weekend. After appearing in relief against Stetson, the typical Friday starter, Nick Robert, will give up his spot to Griffin Hugas against UNC. This comes after Miami has had a rough start to ACC play. Hugas has been the most consistent of Miami's 3 starters this season. We will see what he will do under the lights tonight. The rest of the rotation has not been announced as of right now, but more shakeup within the team is expected as the weekend goes on.
The Canes' new Friday night guy, Griffin Hugas, taught Jaya Williams a thing or two about pitching while talking about his goals on this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. Jaya?
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. I'm your host, Jaya Williams, and today we're here at Mark Light Field. I'm joined with pitcher Griffin Hugas. We're going to learn how to throw a baseball today.
Let's get after it.
What's the #1 thing that people need to know about how to pitch a baseball?
The most important thing is balance.
Okay.
If you can stay balanced, then you can throw a baseball.
So what's step 1?
All right, step 1, you want to start with your shoulders facing home plate. Now this is the tricky part, this is the balance required.
Okay.
You have to lift your left leg and push down the mound.
I think I'm going to need a demo.
And you just lift the leg while you separate the hands, and that is when you throw the ball.
All right.
That's pretty good. For a beginner, that's like an 8 out of 10.
Okay, I'll take
Especially
that. I'll take that. That's a win to me. What would you say was your biggest reason for wanting to become a Miami Hurricane?
I think just the story tradition here at Miami is pretty awesome. So, especially being from Florida, you always want to come here and be a part of that just crazy tradition.
You recently made 100 career strikeouts. How was that moment for you?
Coach JD let us know in the locker room. I was glad that was a game that we ended up winning, because if we lost, it wouldn't have felt as sweet. Definitely knowing that victory was definitely more important to me than the 100 career strikeouts.
That's awesome. Do you have any other big goals that you hope to achieve this season?
My main goal since the beginning of the year is to be able to play in a playoff game here. So I think we're trending in the right direction to be able to do that. There we go.
Ooh, that was a good one, you guys. How do you say your faith influences the way that you play?
What helps me keep a clear head on the mound is really just leaning on my faith and continue to pray while I play.
What are some of the things that you pray about? What do you tell yourself?
To cast my anxieties away from myself, as God tells us, like, to give your anxieties to Him. So I know baseball can be very anxious for me and other players, so I know if I can cast that onto Him, it makes it a lot easier for me to not have to worry about those things while I just get to play baseball.
And that's all the time we have for this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. Griffin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
How would you say I did today? Could I take your spot on the roster?
I think with a little more practice, you have a chance.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, Jaya. While Mark Light Field has seen plenty of action in the past few weeks, the pros were preparing for opening day. Our reporter Luca Murciardi is live from Lone Depot Park to tell us more. Luca, how has the Marlins opening weekend been so far?
Thanks, Jordan. Baseball season is finally here, and it's opening weekend in the 305. The Miami Marlins are kicking off their 2025 campaign right here at home against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Lone Depot Park, and things got off to an exciting start. Kyle Southworth's walk-off single in the bottom of the ninth propelled the Fish to a 5-4 victory in Game 1 of this series, and it marked the first time in franchise history that the Marlins won in walk-off fashion on opening day. But that wasn't the only exciting thing going on in the building. Dolphins legend Dan Marino was here to throw out the first pitch, and fans were able to enjoy a post-game concert from Latin artist Luis Fonsi and rapper Flo Rida. It'll be Connor Gillespie on the mound tonight for the Marlins as they look to win Game 2 of a 4-game set against the Pirates. Reporting live from Lone Depot Park, I'm Luca Mucciardi.
Thanks, Luca. Coming up on Sports Desk, Johnny Muschin talks about all the big stars at the Light this week on Behind the Post. Don't go anywhere. Sports Desk returns right after this.
like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
From SPO to Skeens, Canes squads have seen their share of special guests behind the scenes. When you see Behind the Post on your screen, at this point, you know the routine. Johnny, take it away.
Folks, things are a little bit sad here at the University of Miami at this time of year. Brackets are busted, classes are kicking up, and it seems like every athlete that we have is transferring schools for a bigger NIL deal. But while Jalil Bethea might not be a Cane anymore, don't worry, because you've got Johnny Muschin, your very special host of another edition of Behind the Post. Canes baseball might not have had the most successful matchup against Florida State, but they did have an exciting time at the light. Miami Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra gave out the first pitch, and MLB Rookie of the Year Paul Skeens got some work in before opening day. Even though it looks like Paul Skeens is picking his gits up at baseball camp. Seriously, why is he a foot taller than everyone? But speaking of mustache maniacs, Griffin Hughes just saw his 100th strikeout of his collegiate career.
And here it is, the 100th of his career. The 100th strikeout does it on a really good slider.
And while basketball season might be over, Jay Lucas is keeping the Watsco Center hot. The new head coach trained with some of the remaining Canes. And let's just say, Lucas was not lying when he said that he was determined coming into this season.
Good, go, come on. Finish, finish, finish. This is it. Way to shoot. This is how you shoot. Good, more shots. Got to get more off. There you go, come on, fight.
And finally, the new Canes volleyball players, Nala Kasunga and Billy Ryder, really hyped up the fans by posting this video for their spring matchup at the Wellness Center.
Hey Canes fans, we're so excited to meet you guys. We have a game on Friday at 6:30 in the Wellness Center. Be there. Go Canes!
Well, if they play as well as they promo, then they will not play well. Well, I gotta get going. My Sweet 16 has been absolutely perfect so far, so I need to make sure that Michigan State doesn't let me down, just like Robert Morris did. But always remember, when my face is on SportsDesk, just know you're about to see some of social media's best. I'm Johnny Muschin, and I just took all of you behind the post. Back to you.
Thanks, Johnny. Concussions have become more common over the years. And one Miami soccer player shares her story of how she overcame the challenges of the injury. Regina Potenza has the details.
For over 2 decades, Skylar Klein's identity was built around soccer. As the starting goalkeeper for the University of Miami, she was the team's last line of defense until multiple concussions forced her to walk away.
I likely never would have pursued college past high school if I wasn't playing goalkeeper.
Skyla's soccer journey would be cut short by her senior year in college. She had sustained 3 severe concussions throughout her 4 years at Miami, leading her to make the heartbreaking decision to walk away from the game.
But I never felt like, oh, this one was worse than the last one. It kind of was just okay, I got hit in the head again.
The last one, however, was different.
So it was 2 solid months where I really was not feeling good. I ultimately was okay, I don't know what's going to be next, but I know I'm done playing. It was a lot.
Skyla describes this period as a dark time in her life.
I remember my dad saying, you were depressed. I never myself would have admitted that. It was a hard thing to admit. I knew I wasn't myself, but I wouldn't have associated the word depressed with myself. And when my dad said it, I was yeah, you're right.
But Skyla wasn't alone. Cam Dobbs, a former University of Miami volleyball player who had faced her own concussion struggles, reached out. Cam knew exactly what Skyla was going through and offered her support.
So it was, all right, here's what's going to happen if you do medically retire. Here's what's going to happen if you don't medically retire. Am I advocating for one or the other? Not necessarily I'm advocating for your health. I'm here to be your partner in crime and lift you up.
Cam's guidance and understanding allowed Skyla to begin her healing journey. Through their talks, Skyla realized she wasn't alone and that there was a way forward.
Getting through it was having conversations with Cam, because although it's a little bit different what we both experienced, like, we could probably relate to each other more than anybody else could understand.
With Cam's encouragement, Skyla found a new purpose as a student assistant soccer coach. Now both she and Cam support athletes facing similar challenges alongside the University of Miami's U-Concussion program, which helped them both navigate their concussion struggles.
We probably have one of the best comprehensive multidisciplinary programs in the country. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and what we've done is we've been able to make this a county-wide high school program.
The U-Concussion program partners with local high schools to prevent concussions from an early age. At Lourdes High School in Miami, student athletes take the IMPACT test, a 30-minute computerized assessment that evaluates cognitive functions like memory, attention, and reaction time, both before and after a suspected concussion. This helps track recovery and determines when it's safe for an athlete to return to play. But despite these advancements in diagnosing and treating concussions, there is no cure once an athlete suffers a concussion. So the question remains, how many concussions is too many?
You know, some people are retired from sports with one. The data, the science is still out there, you know, as to the long-term effects.
And so now looking back 5 years later, removed from the injury, I'm thinking maybe it was all worth it just so I could be Skyla's big sister when she gets to walk through it.
With Cam's support, Skyla rebuilt her connection to the sport in a new way. Their journey shows that while the road to recovery can be difficult, it is possible to find new purpose and give back to the community you once belonged to. Regina Potenza, UMTV.
Thank you, Regina. The NFL draft is still a month away, but Canes fans are expecting many familiar faces to have their names called. And on Monday, 20 Hurricanes who are eligible for the draft had a chance to take the field in front of scouts. 32 NFL team reps were at the Carroll Chauffeur Indoor Facility in Miami, where players showed off their skills. Hurricanes such as Cam Ward took part in drills and workouts catered to their position. And for Xavier Restrepo, after breaking multiple school records his senior season and earning his place in Miami history, he hopes to continue his career at the next level.
It's been a dream, you know, ever since I was 4 or 5 years old to play in the NFL, so I think that's the most exciting part about it, is just, you know, finally getting to that level and putting on for not only the organization on the front of your jersey, but the name on the back of your jersey as well.
Restrepo and the other Canes will have to wait until the week of April 24th for any NFL offers. But for now, it was good for these Hurricanes to take the field together one last time.
Up next on Sports Desk, Regina Potenza is live at Cobb Stadium to break down Miami's track and field events this weekend. But first, it's time for some trivia. The Marlins celebrated opening day with a 5-4 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. But when was the last time in their 32-year history that the Fighting Fish took home their season opener? Was it A, 2022, B, 2021, C, 2019, or D, 2017? Find out the answer when Sports Desk returns.
Okay, ladies, I did ask how your brackets were last week, but how is your Sweet 16s going?
I played it really safe. I kept 3 1 seeds in.
Okay, boring.
I'm going with Duke Auburn.
Duke Auburn? Give me Kentucky all day.
Welcome back to Sports Desk. If you answered A 2022, you would be correct. The Marlins beat the Phillies 4-3 to open the 2022 season and currently sit at 14-19 all-time in season openers. An unexpected tragedy left one mother heartbroken and determined to make a difference in the South Florida community. Manny Nacarado shares her story.
For most kids in South Florida, a pool party sounds like a fun-filled day. But for Anna Wynn and her daughter Jenny, things didn't turn out that way for them.
April 17th, she went to the birthday party. She went to the party and I have no idea how did she go in the water.
Jenny was enjoying the party with her friends, but when she went into the pool, not knowing how to swim, things took a turn for the worst when she hit her head.
And I have a phone call from one of the parents. They called me, they told me Jenny had an accident. She hit her head on the curb. And they take more information about Jenny and they told me go to the hospital. She already unconscious and she left us on that morning at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Jenny was only 12 years old when she passed away, leaving Anna heartbroken. But through this tragedy, Anna decided to start the Swim for Jenny initiative, and that's when the YMCA of South Florida took notice.
Fast forward 10 years ago, the YMCA South Florida stepped in as a partnership with Anna and Swim for Jenny Foundation, and we kind of assumed it as part of our platform for water safety and drowning prevention.
According to the Florida Department of Health, Florida had the highest unintentional drowning rate in the nation with children 0 to 9 years old compared to other states, making programs like these essential to educate kids on water safety.
The overall goal of Swim for Jenny is just to teach water safety education. It's really just the importance of how fast and how quick and how silently drowning can happen.
And with these guidelines and swimming techniques the YMCA teaches, parents can feel safer knowing that their children will develop water safety skills.
Absolutely. Especially the ones that love to be in the pool almost every day, like many kids down here, develop some sort of safety guidelines onto, hey, when you're in the water, let's make sure we're safe.
And as for Anna, she hopes with this foundation, she can make a difference.
For everybody to know my story and everybody have to aware of the water safety prevention, because it saves life and saves children on the water. That's very important.
The Swim for Jenny initiative hopes to continue to spread awareness and ultimately lower the rate of childhood drowning with events like this every year. For more information on the Swim for Jenny initiative, you can visit the YMCA of South Florida website. For UMTV, I'm Manny Nacarado.
Thank you, Manny. Last week, Hurricanes track and field fired out of their blocks to the tune of 11 gold medals to open their outdoor season. And the Canes are back this weekend hosting the Hurricane Collegiate Invitational. Our reporter, Regina Potenza, is live at Cobb Stadium with the latest. Regina?
The final event of the first night of the Hurricanes Collegiate Invitational just concluded with the men's 5,000-meter run. Now, the events today were primarily field-based, even though we ended with a track event with their events such as high jump, long jump, hammer throw, discus throw, and Miami has had a strong showing in these performances so far. Miami's Erica Hill finished first place in the discus throw, and Miami's Desmond Clayman finished second place in the javelin throw. Tomorrow's events will start at 10 a.m. with Miami's javelin throw here at Cobb Stadium.
Coming up on Sports Desk, I got the chance to visit a martial arts studio in Coconut Grove that's partnering with a women's empowerment organization. Stay with us.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Martial arts have a long history of being competitive sports, but one local dojo in Coconut Grove teaches that the art can also be applied practically. 18-year-old Jamie DeVries is getting ready to live on her own for her first year of college in the fall. And for her, part of that preparation is happening at the dojo, learning how to protect herself.
It could happen any day, anytime, from anyone. You might not expect it, especially as teenagers. We're like prime subjects, so it's important to be prepared.
Ready, 5-6, ready, here we go.
And in honor of Women's History Month, White Tiger and Dragon Martial Arts partnered with women's empowerment organization Unchained Mothering to bring women and children the opportunity to learn self-defense at no cost.
Just like that.
As much as we love teaching people to black belt and beyond, we find that with women, it's so important to learn the nuts and bolts, and we assume that when people come see us, it might be the only time they ever train with us. Every person needs to know how to defend themselves, especially women and children.
Unchained Mothering founder Jessica DeVries brought the event to life with the goal of helping people connect with their inner strength.
I asked Carol, I said we cannot have a Women Month without having a self-defense workshop. And I thought she's the best person to teach the class. She has so much energy, she's practical, and she generously offered the class to Unchained Mothering and its participants.
1 in every 5 women in universities across the country experience assault or violence. Because physical attacks often happen unexpectedly, White stresses that protecting yourself starts before an attack does.
Most attacks can be prevented. Practice your awareness. We're so engrossed in our phones or AirPods that we're not paying attention.
White boils down self-defense tactics to 3 main targets and 1 word.
Ears, eyes, and throat. Learn basic techniques. You're going to be able to defend yourself and run away screaming, fire.
You run screaming what? Fire.
And taking just 1 class can make a world of a difference when it comes to getting out of a bad situation.
I honestly just feel more like aware and like knowledgeable. It's important to know like how to defend yourself, so I feel a little bit more confident and prepared.
Drop this. Much better. All right, we're going to work on that together.
Thanks, Penelope. Last night, the United Center was rocking as the Lakers and Bulls combined for one of the craziest finishes this NBA season. Let's take you to Chicago for this week's Play of the Day. Josh Giddey with an inbound pass to Patrick Williams. Williams back to Giddey. Giddey goes for the half-court shot, makes it. Did someone say buzzer beater? Josh Giddey sure came in hot tonight. The Chicago Bulls have put themselves in a great position to play in this year's playoffs, and they end up defeating the Lakers 119-117.
The Denver Nuggets' Nikola Jokic had a historic night in his first game back coming off an injury, and plays like this show that he's back like he never left. Let's take it to Ball Arena for another Play of the Day. It's the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Denver Nuggets at Denver, and the Nuggets' Nikola Jokic, his first game coming off an injury, he passes the ball over his shoulder blindly to his teammate Aaron Gordon, who puts it in for 2. Take a look again. I mean, he passes that just completely blind. That teammate telepathy really came through in that moment. Jokic made franchise history that night for his 30th triple-double of the year, breaking his own record, and he scored 39 points against the Bucks. The Nuggets came out on top over the Bucks 127-117. Jordan, the NBA has been having a great season. It's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, Penelope, we sure have had a front row seat to some crazy plays so far this season. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's edition of Sports Desk.
Be sure to tune in again next Friday for another episode, same time, same place. Have a great night. The Denver Nuggets' Nikola Jokic had a historic night in his first game back coming off an injury, and plays like this show that he's back like he never left. Let's take it to Ball Arena for another play of the day. It's the Milwaukee Bucks at the Denver Nuggets, and the Nuggets' Nikola Jokic, it's his first game back from an injury. Yeah, that was...
What the fuck?
Guys.
We're not redoing that. Thanks, Penelope. Last night, the United Center was rocking as the Lakers and Bulls combined for one of the craziest finishes this NBA season. Let's take you to Chicago for this week's Play of the Day. Josh Giddey with an inbound pass to Patrick Williams. Williams back to Giddey. Giddey goes for the half-court shot, makes it. Did someone say buzzer beater? Josh Giddey sure came in hot tonight. The Chicago Bulls have put themselves in a great position to play in this year's playoffs, and they end up defeating the Lakers 119-117. And that is your Play of the Day.
The Denver Nuggets' Nikola Jokic had a historic night in his first game back coming off an injury, and plays like this show that he's back like he never left. Let's take it to Ball Arena for another Play of the Day. It's the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Denver Nuggets at Denver, and the Nuggets' Nikola Jokic, his first game back after being out for 5, he passes it over his shoulder to his teammate Aaron Gordon, who puts it in for 2. Take a look again. I mean, he just passes that completely blindly over to his back. That teammate telepathy really came through in that moment. And Jokic made franchise history that night with his 30th triple-double of the year, breaking his own record. He scored a whopping 39 points against the Bucks, and the Nuggets came out on top 127-117. Jordan, the NBA has been having a great season. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, Penelope, we've sure had a front row seat to some crazy plays this season. I mean, an over-the-shoulder pass, a buzzer beater. What an awesome season it's been. Well, that is all the time we have for this week's edition of Sports Desk. Thank you for joining us.
Be sure to tune in again next Friday for another episode. Same time, same place. Have a great night.